Hello everyone, I'm Beth Golden. Thanks so much for joining me today. I kind of rolled around here a little. Today, I thought it would be fun to play with some distress crayons and also the distress spray stain. I hate to admit it, but I've had this in my stash for quite some time, and I totally forgot about my distress sprays. And I was doing a little bit of research and playing with the distress crayons, which are really cool. They work really nice with the distress sprays, the whole distress line really. But what makes these even more fun is that once they dry, they're harder to move around. So you can spray another color on top of them in the distress line, and it's not going to create a whole bunch of mud, and it's not going to move. So we're going to just make a tag with this, and you can see how that works. And I'm not respecting my color family today at all. So, but what's cool is with the distress crayons, if I'm careful with my placement on them, it's not a big deal. And then the distress stains are all warmer, and they're like the antique linen, walnut stain, and vintage photo. So what I did was to start, I took a piece of watercolor paper. I love this when we're using water solubles, and I basically made a tag out of it with a die. And I'm just going to go through here and just put down some of these, some crayon marks. What makes this so cool is that they're like lipstick, kind of, the way that they go on the surface. So they're real smooth, and they're just a really fun type texture to have down. And I am going to leave some white space in there because I am going to do some spraying and stuff, but I'm just going to take my finger and I'm just going to smudge it out. And it's okay if it connects over with like the other color. It is blendable. And if I wanted to smudge it out even more, I would use some water. And I'm going to do that with a stencil in just a second. But for now, I'm just smudging it out with my finger. And then I'm going to go in with another finger as to not, get too much of a color change in there, and smudge that one out. And I'm just, kind of working it in and whatnot. If you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, I certainly hope that you consider doing so. Also, make sure you hit that bell for your notifications that can come on. You'll get notified whenever I have a new video. And then if you have any questions or comments, please just leave them down below. I'll make sure that I do my best to get back to you. And if you enjoy this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. So that's kind of where we're at right now with this. I think it looks pretty stinking cool, but we're gonna go in and got a baby wipe, and I'm just gonna kind of hit some of those spots one more time with it because I want the pigment to be a little bit built up on some of the areas after I smudge it out, because I'm going to go in with a stencil and a baby wipe and remove some of that color. So I'm just going to take this stencil. I cannot find half my stencils. I'm really worried. I don't know what I did with them. And I'm just going to start to lift some of that color up like so. And now we have just some fun texture going on already. All right, not done yet. I want to go ahead and just hit this with my heat gun. And what this does is it kind of sets it in place so that when I go and start to lay down my sprays, the sprays will layer on it and kind of not necessarily ruin the color. It's still going to be mixable, of course, but I just want to go on. Actually, I'm just going to do a layer of antique and then vintage photo. Hit that just a little bit. And I want to kind of clean up my mess here. But as you can tell, you can definitely see that spray through on the spots that I lifted the other color, and you can still see the color through, you can still see where the crayon was laid through the spray. So it does hold really nice, but it will move once I touch it with something wet. All right. So I'm going to take a another stencil here. We're going to do this stencil, and I'm just going to go over it in some areas, find a clean spot on my wipe, and just start to lift some of that color up in some spots. For some fun patterns. See, got some fun patterns going on right there. Like so. And again, the spray lifted easier than the, like when I lifted the spray, it didn't totally muddy everything up. So the crayon, you can still see most through it, if that makes any sense. Go ahead, just hit this one more time. All right, and then to finish it up, I'm just gonna go back to this stencil, and I'm gonna use some walnut spray, and I'm actually gonna spray off of the stain. So I'm just gonna spray there, right there, right there. And I'm not gonna touch this at all with any water. I want that to set up. I will clean up my space here. Like so. And voila. So just a different way that you can kind of rethink your distress crayons and your sprays, using them together. I'm going to go ahead and just show you what you can do with a distress crayon for a really fun type background. So I'm going to clean this off. Because I do think I'm going to use it for this. And I'm going to use the back side of a tag that I did as a sample and I don't really like. So I'm just going to use, this time, let me pull in some Lucky Clover and some fossilized amber and peel paint. So we'll do those colors this time. And so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and just create just a background with it. Like so. And I'll go around the edges, just get the edges all in. And then I'm just going to take one of my fingers and just start to rub it on through. And I'm just going to work that color through, like so. Don't be afraid to get your fingers dirty, right? Okay, and then from here, I'm going to just take a wipe and take my stencil again. And I think I'll use this stencil. And I'm just going to rub it over this and just lift some of that color, and then just continue kind of blending it on. I'm just blending it on through and lifting that color off with my wipe, and this is what I'm left with. And that is completely just with the distressed crayons, which is a really cool background. So just another way or a revisit on how you can use your distressed crayons and also your sprays. Do make sure that you clean up your surface like I did as you go along, because it will transfer and sometimes you don't want that. Anyway, until next time, I'm Betsy Golden. Happy crafting.